Hi guys, welcome back. It's UK here. Yet another video response for the day. This time to Boltorange and his hyper simulation video. Good video. Check it out. Bolt, you make two sort of topics up in this one, and I'd like to sort of like put my thoughts across on this, all points of view. The first one, you mention the fourth wall and people table talking. I'm with you on this 100%. I have absolutely no problem with people table talking during the game. I actually think it's part of the game. You know, it's there in the title, game. I can remember from the first time I sort of like read the kind of forced fake transcripts of how to roleplay many years before I actually got to, you know, where they do the GM and what he says and the players, and they always did the, you know, I heal so-and-so with 5 damage, or, you know, let's get the, you know, you're the rogue, you get up here and do it, you know, and players discussing their hit points and their armour class, and that for me is part of the game. That's part of the enjoyment, you know. You can be immersed into a world, but you can still have the fun of, you know, knowing you are partaking of, say, a D&D game or whatever by using the terminology. You know, there's just something about armor class and what have you when you're discussing it in game. It just kind of adds to the feel of it for me. So I agree with you. Why do a lot of role players dislike it? I think because they overdo the concept of role playing. They assume that you are supposed to be in character the entire time. You don't come out of it unless you absolutely have to, and I think that's bump. I really do. I've never known anyone who could sit in character for that long. Probably about 5 minutes and doing an odd voice, you know, a Scottish dwarf, is the best that I can do, and after that I've just got to come back out and just play the game. And I think people that do go the whole hog and do an entire like 4 or 5 hour session entirely in character are, you know, I hate to say playing it wrong, because they're enjoying themselves, they're having fun, but I think that's overdoing it. You take it as a game. It's called a role-playing game for a reason. Your second point, which I found quite interesting, was the concept of how gods never have a mechanical part of the game. They're just kind of there in the background. Under 3rd edition, back when experience points still mattered, I'm looking at this from the Pathfinder perspective for anyone else out there watching this vid, I actually came up with the concept of why experience points were there, and it was all to do with gods. Because, let's face it, the game worlds of D&D are heavily built upon their mechanics. Alignment, despite the fact it should just be like a philosophical almost sort of bent to it, is actually much more ingrained in the setting. You know, things are good, they are evil, they are lawful, they are chaotic. And even really the early editions of the game had alignment languages, which it was a really silly idea, but yeah, they had them. Alignment was really part of it, and I figure that experience points are the same. You know, why do characters and NPCs accrue experience points and levels? And the way I looked at it was this: that gods need experience points. That's why they jealously defend their followers, and why they seek people to worship them. Because when a body dies and the soul transpires to its afterlife and it meets its god, the spirit is just subsumed into the god almost. The god gets its followers or its worshippers experience points, and the Deities and Demigods book, you had basically the stats of these, and it showed that the gods can do these miracles, and they used experience points to do it. So where are they going to get these experience points back? From the followers that they get from their deceased followers. And it even went so far in my mind to explain why some of the high level spells required an experience point cost from the caster, because essentially the cleric isn't casting the spells, the god is channeling through the caster, through the cleric, and so you've got to give the god, you know, at least a portion of his XP back. when he's doing this for you, because it's costing him or her the XP. And so I kind of figured it all around that, and it kind of made sense to me that the gods would be involved in a game world because they want the XP. They need it. If and if a god doesn't have enough followers come to it, it's going to drop in power eventually to a lesser god, and possibly even just wink out if it becomes forgotten. It might not be quite what you were thinking of when you were discussing gods within the mechanical aspect, but it was something that came to mind watching your vid. Anyway, thank you for your vid. It was very good and quite interesting. Until next time, everybody, take care and good gaming.